Hey, amazing people. I wanted to come on here and share a couple things that have been coming up for me. I wrote the book Waking Up in the Dream after studying with many teachers, but my main teacher and mentor, Don Miguel Ruiz, author of the Four Agreements, Master of Love, Beyond Fear, and the Voice of Knowledge. I met him in San Diego in 2001 when I was seeking answers. I had a pretty good life. I was a recording engineer, lived in my studio. I was recording people from all over the world. I had some amazing people and women in my life, but I kept recycling through patterns that later I found out was my own programming that I took on when I was a child. You know, my dad died in a plane crash when I was 7. I grew up with my mom and 2 sisters. They're amazing, but there was a lot of lack, there was a lot of fear. And what happens to us when we're growing up can affect us for the rest of our lives unless we can begin to have the awareness, the conscious awareness, to tune into that and to see the patterns and programs that just keep recycling over and over and over. So anyway, what I wanted to share right now is, in the last few days, I've posted a couple things that are controversial, and they trigger a lot of people. Now's the time to wake up. You know, the mainstream media, the television, has been brainwashing people ever since it was invented. But for some reason, people have decided, or just unknowingly trusted, that the television is telling them the truth. And this has been the reason why so many people have been brainwashed. So many people have been placed in situations to oppose and be separated from others. It's the formula that's been around forever, that's been enabled by the dark forces. Separation, get people fighting with each other, Democrats versus Republicans, it goes on and on and on. And until we can actually see this, we tend to get sucked into it. Because here's what happens. Most people believe that their belief system, in other words, the things that they are taught to believe, are true. And this is such a huge program because what we have been taught to believe from the media, science, the school system, the systems of religion. I grew up Catholic. I was an altar boy until 9th grade. I mean, it was nothing but fear, judgment, doubt, guilt, with a little bit of love thrown in back here. This is not who we are, people. And nothing against anybody that goes to church, but I did it for most of my adolescence. And for me personally, it's a frickin' program. If you followed anything around the Vatican or the Catholic Church lately, it's not good. So I'll leave that for another, actually I don't even want to leave it for another discussion. I'm not here to challenge or tell you what to believe. My message and invitation is to get you to question everything that you believe. And that's what my teacher, Don Miguel Ruiz, did for me and everybody else that was in the small group that I was so blessed to study with for 10 plus years. And now it's going on 20 years. So the invitation with all of the things that are being revealed right now, we have Donald Trump as a president. There's so many people hating on him. It's so classic. They're following the media. They're triggered beyond belief. And they have no idea that if Hillary would have gotten in there, it would be game over. No, he doesn't say everything correctly, but I'll tell you what, if you do the research, he's working for the light. And I'm not interested in getting into political debates with anybody. My intention with this transmission is to get everybody to step into their heart, to question everything that you've ever been taught from the school system, this system of science, this system of the medical system that is not meant to cure anybody. There are so many healing technologies that are available to cure cancer and everything else. The invitation is to wake up. And until one questions everything they've been taught to believe, they're not going to wake up. And here's why the system has so much control over people. It's because our ego, our mind, has been taught its main purpose is to protect us. So what happens is we end up with a belief system. And this system happens as soon as we're born, and we can take on information. So it happens from our parents, our grandparents, then it happens from the school system, the system of religion, if you're involved in that. And the biggest brainwashing system ever currently is the mainstream media. If you're still believing anything that's on the television that is owned by 6 corporations, you're being brainwashed. The ego is not going to want to believe and accept that they've been brainwashed because the ego wants to be in control. So anything that goes against your belief system, the ego is going to react. When my teacher, Don Miguel Ruiz, asked us to question our belief system, it was the biggest wake-up call that I ever had in my life. Because I realized that every single belief, actually 99% of them, were all given to me by external sources. This school system, I grew up Catholic. I was in Catholic schools with nuns and priests. The whole system was about fear and guilt and judgment. Every single thing was fear, guilt, and judgment with a little bit of love outside. If you're good enough, maybe you'll go to heaven. It's the biggest program of deception ever. And if you don't like that reflection, it's okay. I honor wherever you want to be. But, you know, I've been studying this stuff for 20 years, and the Catholic religion is not based on love. It's based on control, on an external God. Figure it out for yourself or keep doing it. It doesn't matter. My message for today is, are you questioning every single thing that you've been taught to believe? Because if you're not, you are running a program over and over and over. And I was too. The average person has between 50 to 80,000 thoughts a day. And they're the same recycling thoughts every day. And if anything goes against those thoughts, new information, to challenge them, it's the ego's job to say, no, we can't have that. We can't be open to anything else, because then we are exposed. So the ego is controlling your freedom or lack of freedom. So my intention is to just gently, give you an invitation to look at what's going on. You're going to see very soon, if you haven't already, in the media is going to be taken down. It's owned by 6 corporations. They're owned by the cabal. You can argue with me, you can get upset, you can get triggered. It doesn't matter. That's your stuff. I'm here as a being, a soul being, to uplift and inspire people. Whatever you want to believe, that's okay with me. My invitation is to question every belief you've ever been taught, because most of them are false. They really are. All our beliefs came from our parents, our grandparents, the school system, system of religion, science. Scientists now say, come on, it's bullshit, people. That's as kind as I can say it. So what I invite everyone to do is to start paying attention, to start questioning everything. And anything that you hold on to, that you need to believe, and anything that comes in against that, that's your ego. That's called cognitive dissonance. If one is not willing to entertain somebody else's point of view, you are stuck. It doesn't mean that the other person's point of view is right, but if it triggers you and you need to hold on, you're stuck. You are programmed 1,000%. People can still have conscious conversations between one another, and they can still disagree. But the person that's triggered is stuck in their ego, because the only way you could be triggered is if you really don't believe what you think you believe, and you need to defend it. Truth never needs to be defended. It just is. I don't know what else to say. I'm just hearing love. And don't believe me. Like my teacher Miguel said, don't believe me, don't believe anybody else. This is your own journey. But if you're believing the mainstream media, I'll just say it, you're fucked. And there's no easier way to say it, you know? And sorry, Mom, but this is the truth. You know, we are sovereign divine beings. We're on a journey that is endless. This journey on earth is temporary. Love is the only answer in every situation. Period. You can project your views and your beliefs onto other people, but the bottom line is, why would you need to do that? You know, I learn from everybody. Everybody is our teacher, especially the people that trigger us. So when we get triggered, the number one tool that I teach in the Waking Up in the Dream 30-day groups every month is, as soon as you realize that you're triggered and you have a judgment, because your judgments are all about you. Unless somebody's physically assaulting you, every judgment is about you. It's a signpost, because you couldn't be triggered by anybody unless you're holding that same frequency. So every time we have a judgment or we get triggered, the most enlightening question ever is to go, oh wow, I just had a judgment, I'm triggered. What is this trying to teach me? What is this trying to teach me? This is a masterful question that will open up so much in your life. I love it. I was a judgeaholic. I was judging everything in my life because I thought if I pointed out what was wrong out there, that somehow it would fix it. But everything is frequency and vibration. Our thoughts, our words, and our emotion are vibrations that are, whether you want to believe it or not, they are creating what's showing up in this vibrational hologram that we call life. If you can understand this and be open to this, it'll change everything in your dream moving forward. Anything that triggers you is your teacher. If you lash out at it and judge it, it will come back again, because there's an energetic frequency inside you. I love my new shirt, the lion, that is attracting that. I hope you understand this. If you don't, it's okay. You'll get it sooner or later. And I don't need for you to understand my views for me to be right. I'm showing up in love. I've learned a lot from some great teachers. I've been through hell. I've been down the rabbit hole. And I'm doing my best to share the tools that my teachers and mentors have shared with me. So if you find this valuable, wonderful, feel free to share it. The next Waking Up in the Dream 30-day transformational experience is going to start in about a week. If that's something that interests you based on what I've shared, send me a private message, reach out. And if not, just keep being aware. Be aware of every time you judge or get triggered, because that's your stuff. It's not somebody else's stuff. And this will open up so much amazing magic and synchronicities in your life. Judgment is the biggest addiction on the planet, way beyond drugs and alcohol. We've been taught to judge. And when you awaken, you will begin to see that every judgment is about you. And it's the biggest doorway to your freedom when you can catch it and go, oh, thank you. Thank you for showing me that. I intend that you found this valuable. If you have any questions, reach out. Send me lots of love. All the support and all the comments. And yeah, let's continue the conscious conversations. It's when people can come together with differing opinions and they can have a conversation without being triggered and lashing out at each other. That's where we're going. There's no way around it. So let's dive in. I love you all. Many blessings.